Picture this. You are retired. The mortgage may be gone, the career is behind you, and after decades of saving, you finally have the freedom to use your money the way it was meant to be used. Then, a big expense shows up. Maybe the house needs repairs. Maybe the car gives out. Maybe you want to take that long-promised trip with the family. So you do the reasonable thing. You open one of your retirement accounts, take out the cash you need, and move on with your life. Seems simple. But that one decision can trigger a chain reaction most retirees never see coming. The money lands in your bank account, but behind the scenes, the tax rules start moving against you. A withdrawal from the wrong account can push more of your income onto your tax return. It can cause a larger portion of your Social Security to become taxable. It can even set you up for higher Medicare premiums later, all because of one move that looked harmless at the time. And that is the trap. In retirement, the real danger is not always spending too much. Sometimes it is pulling from the wrong place first. Two retirees can need the exact same amount of money, make the exact same purchase, and yet end up with completely different outcomes. One keeps more of their savings, the other hands over far more to taxes and hidden income-based costs than they ever expected. That is why this topic matters so much. Once the paycheck stops, every withdrawal becomes part of your income strategy. And if you do not have a clear plan for which accounts to tap first, you can accidentally create a much bigger bill than the expense itself. The good news is that this mistake is avoidable. In this video, we're going to break down how retirement withdrawals actually work, which accounts generally make the most sense to use first, and how to avoid a costly order of operations mistake that can quietly drain your savings over time. Because in retirement, it's not just about how much money you have, it's about how intelligently you pull it out. And getting that order right can mean keeping more of your income, lowering unnecessary tax damage, and making your savings last a lot longer. In this video, you will see why retirement income is not just about the size of your savings. It's about which account you use, when you use it, and the order you draw from it. We'll walk through how traditional retirement accounts, Roth accounts, and taxable brokerage accounts are each treated differently for tax purposes, and why that difference can have a major impact on how much money you actually keep. You'll also learn about the biggest tax traps retirees need to watch for, including the hidden ways a withdrawal can create bigger costs than expected. Then we'll go through a practical example that shows how using the right withdrawal sequence can help your savings last longer and give you more control over your income. And by the end, you'll have a simple yearly checklist you can use to make better withdrawal decisions before small mistakes turn into expensive ones. During your working years, your paycheck did the heavy lifting. Money came in on a schedule, and your job was mostly to manage it well. Retirement works differently. Now your income has to be built from several sources, such as Social Security, a pension or annuity, traditional retirement accounts, taxable brokerage accounts, and Roth accounts. Some of these sources are fixed and show up regularly. Others are flexible, and you control when and how to use them. That's why retirement is not only about how much you saved, it's also about how smartly you turn those savings into income. Most retirees make one simple mistake. They pull money from the biggest account first, or they drain one account completely before moving to the next. That sounds logical, but it can be expensive.
Different accounts are taxed in different ways, and the wrong withdrawal order can increase your tax bill, make more of your Social Security taxable, and even raise your Medicare premiums. There are three big traps to watch for. First, the Social Security trap. A little extra income can cause more of your benefits to become taxable, which means a small withdrawal can create a surprisingly large tax hit. Second, the Medicare trap. Higher income can raise your premiums later, and crossing a line by even a small amount can cost more than most retirees expect. Third, the RMD trap. If you leave too much money sitting in traditional retirement accounts for too long, you may face larger forced withdrawals later, which can create even bigger tax problems. That is why you need to understand how each account works. Money from a taxable brokerage account is usually taxed based on gains, dividends, and interest. Traditional IRA and 401k withdrawals are generally taxed as ordinary income. Roth withdrawals, if qualified, are usually tax-free and often give you the most flexibility later on. And that leads to the big idea. In retirement, a dollar is not just a dollar. Where it comes from can change how much of it you actually keep. In many cases, the best approach is to use taxable savings first in a smart way, then take controlled withdrawals from traditional accounts or make strategic Roth conversions. Be thoughtful about when Social Security starts and protect Roth money for later flexibility. The goal is not to avoid taxes forever. The goal is to spread taxes more wisely across retirement. And that is why the early years of retirement matter so much. Those years often give you a rare planning window when income may be lower, Social Security may not yet be fully active, and you still have room to make smart moves before future tax pressure builds. To see how this works in real life, let's look at a retired couple in their 60s. They want steady spending, they have money spread across taxable, traditional, and Roth accounts, and they want their savings to last while still leaving something behind for their family. What they do in the first few years of retirement will have a major effect on how much tax they pay over the rest of their lives. Before full Social Security begins, they may rely heavily on taxable savings while adding carefully measured withdrawals from traditional accounts or using Roth conversions to stay in favorable tax ranges. That matters because they're lowering future tax pressure on their own terms instead of waiting for bigger problems later. Once Social Security begins, the strategy changes. Now there is more fixed income coming in each month, which means every extra dollar from an IRA can have a bigger tax effect. It can make more of Social Security taxable and move income closer to Medicare premium thresholds. At that stage, the order often becomes more careful. First, take any required distributions when they begin. Then cover additional spending from taxable accounts when possible, and use Roth money selectively, especially when you want extra cash without creating a tax spike. That is the key lesson. The retirees are the same, the accounts are the same, but the withdrawal order is different, and that difference can lead to very different long-term results. Good planning early on creates more freedom later. A few simple rules can help. Do not drain one account completely before touching the next. Use lower income years to reduce future tax pressure. Pay attention to how withdrawals affect Social Security taxation. Be careful near Medicare thresholds and treat Roth money as valuable flexibility, not just another account to spend casually. Because in retirement, withdrawal order can matter almost as much as investment performance. A simple yearly routine can make this much easier. Start by estimating your fixed income for the year. Then decide how much you truly expect to spend. Find the gap between those two numbers. Choose the bracket you want to stay within, then fill that gap using the most tax-efficient mix of accounts. And if something major changes during the year, review the plan again. Done consistently, this becomes a rhythm rather than a struggle. Retirement income planning is a lot like crossing a river on stepping stones. If you move carelessly, one wrong step can create a mess. But if you choose each step with purpose, you can get across with far more stability and peace of mind. And that is really the goal.
Small choices today can give you more control tomorrow. A smart withdrawal strategy can help your savings last longer, work harder, and give you more confidence in the years ahead. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not personal, tax, legal, or financial advice. The right strategy depends on your age, health, filing status, state taxes, and the mix of accounts you have. So before making major decisions, it is worth reviewing your plan with a qualified tax professional or fiduciary financial planner. And if you want, share what type of accounts you have, traditional, Roth, taxable, or a mix of all three. And future videos can walk through examples that may look a lot like your situation.